Page 58, Surprise Symphony Theme. On the previous pages they talk about a bass C penna scale. Penna means 5. It's what this book calls a 5-finger position. They're simply saying the C is the lowest note in that position, and you're using the bass clef. You're down here. That's what they call the penna scale. And a lot of books just call it a 5-finger position. It's a C position. You can read all about that. I don't have any more to say on it than that. We're going to be using that in in a few pieces here. We'll see what happens. Now at the top of the page on page 58, they're introducing a new symbol. It's a dot called a staccato. The dot can be above or below the note. That's not important. The point is it's a dot. And it indicates that you separate the note from what comes after it, whatever it is. So you see examples up above. I like to use the music, so let's go look at the music here. It's in both hands and it's in the here, and if I play the notes normally, the way I just play it, it'd be this way. But with the staccato on it, I'm going to shorten them up. Now there's different flavors of staccato. There are different lengths. You can have really short staccatos. You can have long staccatos. You see, you either get legato where you connect the notes, or you get staccato where you disconnect them. And how much you disconnect them depends on the situation. It's an interpretive thing. You got some power here. And that's what it is. Now for the technique, there's different techniques of playing staccato. Not all teachers teach all the techniques. The first one I want you to learn is called the hand or wrist staccato. It's where you're flexing at the wrist and the hand does the work, and you're on the keys and you push down and bounce off. Boom, boom. Make it short. Now just because you're using this technique doesn't mean it has to be short, but in this piece we're going to do short staccatos. When you're first learning a piece and doing the staccatos, do the short first as your default, and then you can change it later as you get into the piece. You may say, oh, those notes are too short, I'm going to lengthen them a little bit. But right now, do them short. So, my teacher when I was little, long time ago, called these hot stove notes. Actually, some method books do too. Because the idea, if you touch a hot stove, you get off it real quick, and that's really what this is. Just get off it real quick. That's for short staccatos. For longer staccatos, it's more like a warm stove note or something. I don't know what it is. I made that up. Don't say anything. Left hand's the same thing. It's the same technique. You're down here. These are the notes. And it's... and hands together. So the half notes, no staccato. You hang on to that. Like so. So briefly, let's go over this piece, because staccato is a type of articulation. It's like a slur or an accent. Staccato is another kind. I do the staccatos later. I want to get the notes and the rhythms and all that, the fingering first. So right hand first. We already know the first two measures we've been doing. And then going on, you have these. And then the left hand gets those. And the second line is the same. Go to the second line, third measure. It's F, and then you have a half rest. You see the bars sitting on the line, that's 2 counts. It's a half rest, and then the last measure is here. That's it for the right hand. Left hand, you're here to start with, and then in the last measure, they want a thumb on a B. That means you got to be up here. You'll see the finger number with the circle around it. That's the way the author of this book tells you that you had to move your hand. That's typically they don't circle finger numbers. So you're up here, and then for the next line, the very next note, you got to be back down here. There's no rest or anything. You got to go from here to here. Just lift up and move. Boom. Just, it's not a quick jerky motion or nothing. Just lift up and move. You're back down here. And then second line, third measure, you got to come back up again. And then back down again for the last measure. Now here you got rest. You got time to move. And that last note, those are C, G. That's a chord. It's a triad. Didn't we talk about triads? Here, then put the hands together. It's here. They're playing the same notes, different fingers sometimes. And then the right hand takes over, and the left hand. As you're playing this, move the left hand up. So it's ready. Don't wait until you need to play the note to move. If you got time, get it there. Move before. So as you're playing these notes, pick somewhere in that time. I don't care where, just somewhere. Get your left hand up. And now you got to come back down because they play together again. And then here, you got to come back up with the left hand as you're playing these. Come up. As you're playing these, then come back down. And there you got 4 notes at the same time. So you work out the fingering and the rhythms and get that all worked out in the notes. And then we can add the articulation, and that's the staccatos and accents and stuff like that. So it's a staccato, both hands. I'm flexing at the wrist. I'm bouncing off at the wrist. Don't use the whole arm here. That's something else. Here, just the wrist. See? And then in the second line, in the last measure, they're all staccato, but they put an accent on the last notes there. So then you can play them a little extra. And short. Just give them not a lot of oomph, just a little oomph. Then you can add the dynamics. Well, it's soft and it's important, and you can do both hands the same. It's all melody. Soft. You'll have to decide what soft is. Just soft. Not as soft as you can play, but then when you get to the last measure, 2 notes are soft, and the last note is loud. And that's the surprise part of the symphony. In the real thing, if you listen to the real symphony, the orchestra's playing it, and they're going along nice and gentle and quiet, and all of a sudden, boom, there's this really loud chord, and that's why it's called a surprise symphony. So it's there. Wake people up with that one. Speed-wise, cheerfully. Well, it's not a speed, it's a mood, but that a lot of times they just give you the mood, and you have to kind of figure out what the speed is. It's a happy piece. Like that, about that speed. When you're learning it, you go slow, and you gradually speed it up. I've been telling you from time to time that you don't be looking at the keyboard as you're playing. You got to try and remember which fingers are on which keys. Well, when you start moving around like this, you have to look at the keyboard as you move so you can see. So in this left hand and you're moving up, you got to look down for that, but only for that. Once you're there, you can look back at the music again. So you know, we practice hand moves in piano when we need to, and so if you have to do that, you do that. I'd like to play it with you slowly. Now this is after you've learned it. I just want to check notes and rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics, the louds and softs, but I'll do the staccato and I'll do the accent because that's part of the articulation. So I'm going to give us 4 counts. So let's just go really slow and play it together just to make sure you have the right notes and rhythms. Okay. 1, 2, ready, go.